It's time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. This is episode number 34, and it's recorded live on Saturday afternoon, July 16th. And we're going to call this the vacation episode. I think that's probably the most appropriate one. My name is Rob Woodbridge, the guy not on vacation but wishing he was. And with me, as always, is where? From South Carolina?
South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association.
And obviously the guy that is on vacation is Asif. And for some of you, actually, this show is sometimes like a vacation. It does take a vacation every once in a while. Hopefully this won't be the one. We're kind of relaxed. Nice, sunny, hot Saturday afternoon. As always, this is the show where you come to find information about the location-based marketing world. And we do our best to give you the most relevant news, the most relevant information on a weekly basis, always found in your inbox on Monday morning. And today, it was a busy week last week. We've got some news from O2. We've got some news from Scavenger, Foursquare, the usual guys, as well as WhitePages, Facebook. We've got some investment news around some companies that we've talked about, MomentFeed and LocalMind. And we've got a great resource and a good product as well. So, why don't we get this thing going? I know you're on vacation mode. I know you got a limited amount of time. Let's get moving.
But we're dedicated to our craft, and while I should be on the golf course, here I am, bringing location-based marketing, to our listeners. So,
and you can see the golf course, which is good, Asif.
Yeah, we'll do a quick show after.
Nice. Before we get into the news, though, the LBMA has an event that we should probably plug at this point.
Yeah, so if you're in the Toronto area, we have our next LBMA Toronto event coming up on July the 26th in the evening. It's 6 to 9 p.m. in the evening, and it's called The Retailer's Dilemma. And this is an event focused. The entire panel is made up of retailers, and they're going to basically get up and talk about the challenges that they face with location-based marketing tools, the questions that they want to see addressed from the vendor community. So I think it's a really interesting discussion, either if you're a retailer or an agency representing a retailer, or you're looking to build a new app that services the retail community. I think this is a good chance to kind of hear directly from the retailers about what's going on. So that's July 26th, 6 to 9 in Toronto.
And just go to thelbma.com to register?
You got it.
Wicked, and obviously there's an LBMA member discount, so you should be joining the LBMA. This isn't a plug for the LBMA, is it? But it should be. You should join the LBMA and support
Absolutely.
what Asif is doing.
Yeah, if you're an LBMA member, the events are free. So
yes, it's even better. We should
be
supporting this. So that's on the 26th. So that's done. Hopefully we'll see you there. I'm going to make it down to Toronto for this event. Up to Toronto, down to Toronto from where I am. You'll just be back from vacation. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Still with the Bermuda shorts. Well, let's jump into our first story, which is this is something that if I was somebody like Groupon, if I was somebody like anybody in this couponing business, I would be trembling right now because of what O2 is doing with their relaunch of Priority Moments.
Yeah, so Priority Moments is an O2 customer loyalty program, been around for a while, and so they, as we've talked about on this show in the past, O2's been experimenting with location-based offers, leveraging the Placecast technology, delivering offers to subscribers who've opted in for those offers over SMS. And so what they've done is they've taken the two things and kind of put them together. They said, look, Priority Moments is a program that we reward our loyal customers. Location-based marketing seems to be gaining traction. Let's throw those two things together. And so they relaunched Priority Moments along with a £6 million marketing campaign to kind of push this to subscribers. And if you're not familiar with O2's in the UK. They have 22 million subscribers on their mobile network. And so they've basically taken this loyalty program and they've said, look, now you're going to have access to deals at initially 30 partners or so, 30 high street brands. High Street is one of the main shopping districts in London, and away you go. And they've actually said that for the average customer who's on this program, you'll save in terms of the offers that are pushed to you about £105 per month.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I mean, we've talked about this, from the very beginning of probably podcast number 1 about carrier involvement in location-based marketing and location-based couponing and how they have to get involved in. And it seems like O2 is I mean, this is furthering their their movement into this space. But these guys are kind of the litmus test for everybody else who's involved in this space. They have to be.
Oh, absolutely. And I know the Orange guys. Well, they're saying they're not too scared and too worried about this. Everybody's got to figure out now how they're going to respond to this. O2's been pushing the envelope now for some time, and they've been trying all sorts of different things, including NFC payments with some of their other vendor partners. And I think this is a huge move for them. So it includes Odeon Theaters, it includes Harvey Nichols, Zizzy, some major brands in the UK.
I just think that this is an indication that that these kind of discount services or couponing services are such a commodity now that when you open it up through the carrier system, that every single of those, every one of the 22 million subscribers for O2 has access to this without even doing anything, and can redeem this without even worrying about a coupon or a barcode or a QR code.
No question. And it's just about rewarding people for opening the app, regardless of what they are. And not that this has anything to do with O2, but I'll give you a perfect kind of example. So I'm down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. One of the big things down here is outlet malls and shopping, and my family's going crazy with that. But I pulled down Tanger, which is this shopping mall outlet operator, and they have all over the U.S. They have a couple outlet malls down here. I pulled down the iPhone app, installed it on my phone, and walked in. And they deliver. Not only do they deliver location-specific deals based on which outlet you're at, all of their coupons and for every retailer in the store is available through this app, along with maps and everything else that you can think of. But to top it all off, the app is free. To top it all off, they say they have this special offer for first-time app users. Is you go and you spend $50 across any of the vendors in the mall, and then you just go to Shopper Services, which is this office in the mall, Tanger office in the mall, and you show them receipts for $50 of spend, and they give you a $10 gift card for doing nothing that you can spend anywhere in the mall. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I mean. Well, it might. That's not, I don't know if that's the best way to get out of a recession, but it's 20% discount across board. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at right now, and I think that the only thing missing in all that thing is that if you just did it automatically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I like the idea of this, and we've talked about what especially what O2 is doing, and Orange is doing, but I like the idea. Remember the American Express Perks card, the American Express rewards, right? So Amex users used to get to the front of the line. They created, when you wanted to get concert tickets, you could get them ahead of time, ahead of the average person who didn't have an Amex card. And I see, O2. It's a great way to do this with O2. Is that if you're an O2 subscriber, those 22 million people are going to get notifications, are going to get, advance sales of some sort or notification.
No question. It's about the brand maintaining the relationship with the customer, keeping control, keeping the data, and continuing to kind of push that that loyalty angle.
Yep.
That we keep talking about. For a while, loyalty disappeared with Groupon. And now it's coming back, and actually the next story sort of addresses that, in the next round as well. So
yeah, and let's just right into that. We're big fans of Seth Prebatch and what he's doing with Scavenger, and it's been a while since we talked about them. So I think probably since the last time that they launched LevelUp to begin with. Then, so LevelUp, they announced this week LevelUp version 2.0, which is a little bit different from their first version.
Yeah, so LevelUp version 2.0 is them basically saying, look, we saw a problem when we launched LevelUp originally, and that problem was every customer, as far as the Groupon model was concerned, was getting treated the same. Everybody would get the same deal. Well, what happened to loyalty? What happened to the customer who's been with you forever? Why should they get the same deal that the new guy's getting? So they tried to address that, as the name implies, by creating a series of levels. And so bringing loyalty back into the program. You're at level 1, you're at level 2, you're at level 3. You get a better deal the more you shop, or the more you eat, or the more you do with a particular retailer. And so that's still somewhat there, but what they've pivoted again here now, and they said, look, yeah, we're doing that, but we want to focus on payment. We want you to not only be able to get the deal, but we want you to be able to pay for that deal. directly through your card, and connecting that to the mobile experience. And so what they've done here is they've said, look, sign up with us for LevelUp. We're going to issue you a personal QR code. And that QR code can be displayed over your mobile device or on a physical card, which they'll send you in the mail. Okay? So that you just keep it in your wallet, whichever you prefer. And then when you go, and so then you associate that QR code with whatever your favorite credit card is that you want to use. And then when you go to these retailers that are participating in the program, they have terminals that you can basically walk up to and scan, scan the QR code, or if you're at a restaurant or whatever, the server can come over and scan it at your table as well. So pretty interesting, that they're going right to basically QR code based payment. And
I gather some of these guys, it's only available in Philadelphia and Boston and Philadelphia.
Boston and Philly, yeah.
And but what you do, I guess, is that they give you up to 10 or 20 or 10 or 15, 5 or 10 or $20 discounts the first time you use these cards or use the QR code, and then you start to earn additional. I don't know. You earn additional credit every time you go back to those stores, right?
Yes, that's correct.
This was as opposed to the way that they were doing it before.
They're seeding people to use this by giving away money.
Yeah, basically handing you cash.
Yeah, handing you cash.
In hopes that you'll come back and become a more frequent, loyal customer. Right? So they give you the $10 or the $20 to incent you in the door. Once you're in there...
So there's two parts to this program. So there's kind of the consumer angle, which is we want to incent you to come into these stores. Here's some cash to get you in there to buy something.
Yep.
Here's an easy way to pay. It's green, all of that. Then on the merchant side, what they're saying to the merchants is, hey, we're going to put these terminals in. They're promising the merchants lower card processing fees. Kind of taking a page out of the Square handbook.
Yep.
So it's the combination of both sides, the merchant side and the consumer side, and we're mashing that all up together and saying, hey, it's deals, it's loyalty, it's treating people differently based on how frequently they come, and payments all tied together.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, it's a big mouthful, but let's see what they do.
They've got the backing. They got Google backing. I wonder how long it'll take before the Google e-wallet or the Google Wallet is part of what Scavenger's doing or what LevelUp is doing. But again,
what strikes me about this, though, sorry to interrupt, Rob. Yeah. What strikes me about this is that you have how close is that relationship between Google and Scavenger? Because you got Google out, in the mainstream saying the QR code is dead.
Yeah, exactly.
The QR code is dead. And then you have, their sister or child company here, that they're invested in.
QR codes.
Basing payments on QR codes. So, anyways.
Not only that, printing them on physical plastic and then mailing them out so that you don't have to even use, the device anymore. You just use a QR code on a plastic card.
Yeah. Anyways,
well, so I think it's interesting, but again, it's short-sighted. I think that this is one of those things that have a limited shelf life, because if what O2 is doing in the UK comes across to North America, the US and Canada, and the carriers start to get involved and get their act together, all of a sudden this kind of stuff not so relevant anymore, right?
Right. Anyhow, let's see what happens. It's a big undertaking.
Yep.
I think it's ambitious, but I also think there's a lot of power here, a lot of incentive for people to try it, and let's see what happens.
I think so. Definitely rooting for them. Definitely rooting for Seth.
Other cities, absolutely, yeah.
Third story. That's LevelUp version 2 launched. So obviously that was this week, late this week, and you can go check it up on their website. We'll have a link somewhere up there. Third story, WhitePages Localicious. That's a tough name. This is an Android application that the WhitePages have launched. And the way they build this is a weird thing, because they say it's the only localized information source for local or neighborhood restaurants or neighborhood businesses. And I think I'll be the first to call bull on this. But I think everybody has to say it's the only or the first or the greatest. But this is Localicious.
Yeah. So again, I think it's interesting. Only, it's definitely not first, as you've just said, but it's interesting that it's coming from a behemoth in the white pages. You've got 200 million Americans, 20 million business listings. So there's a lot of data that they have access to that they can leverage.
Just a
These
little
guys are used to monetizing, online, so they understand the business of pay-per-click and pay-per-call, and how to make money, which a lot of these other guys don't. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll see. So they're basically saying, hey, we can provide you with deals and offers and based on your location and local listings. Nothing unique about that, but a lot of data there and a lot of understanding and experience and a big sales force in being able to go out and monetize. So let's see what happens. The other interesting thing is they also announced something called Neighbors. I don't know if you caught this, Rob, as well.
Yeah.
But, sorry.
I did. Yeah. This is the service that's basically associated with this.
Yeah, and this one is a little weird, a little creepy, I think.
A little creepy.
So what Neighbors does is it maps your location and your neighborhood, and then it provides you with a kind of almost like a Google Earth, aerial view of your neighborhood and all the houses around you, and then it will give you the address and phone number information for all your neighbors around you.
That's a little creepy. That's a little creepy, man.
That's a little creepy. And they say that, most people, want to know who their neighbors are, want to get to know their neighbors better. They've got data. I'm going to read the data. Harris Interactive poll, commissioned by the White Pages, 67% of Americans want to know their neighbors better, but only 41% know their neighbors' first names. So this is all about getting to know your neighbor. And so we're going to map all this for you, and we're going to put all the phone numbers and information all on an aerial view of your neighborhood. And they take it a step further. I love this. By clicking on the house icons near a neighbor's listing, users can select people to invite, and the White Pages will actually send out up to 80 print postcards to which recipients can RSVP to a designated site. So you can have a neighborhood party. You can have a neighborhood party and just invite people in your neighborhood that you don't know to come to your party. Hey, I like it. 4th of July, Memorial Day. Memorial Day's coming up.
Yeah,
You can either do the Sasquatch Festival.
Yeah.
With Esurance that we talked about last week, or you can invite your neighbors based on the White Pages Neighbors thing to a block party.
So, I think that this might be unique. Those scenes, maybe we're having one of those right now, but those scenes in movies where you're like, you can't even look because you're so embarrassed? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I can't even watch this because I'm getting embarrassed. That's the feeling I have right here, is that, I appreciate maybe it's a little bit of an innovative approach. I can't think that this is going to go over well.
It's not unlike, we talked about some of this group chat stuff, a while ago. Yeah. And I personally don't get the idea of just randomly chatting with people because they're in close proximity to me that I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't do that, but there are lots of companies that are doing it. So, and maybe this is, a page out of that handbook. I don't know, but we'll see. White Pages, check it out. Well, Localicious and Neighbors.
There are so many.
Android only. It's Android only.
But there are so many. Yeah, exactly. So, like, 1 out of every 100, or whatever. In my neighborhood, nobody here has an Android device. But if you start to think about the privacy concerns around that, it's one thing to list them alphabetically. It's another thing to list it by, like, your absolute neighbor. And I think that this is not going to go very far. We'll anyway. See. Way to go, White Pages, for innovating. Good luck with that. I'm just going to take a second here so the embarrassment can filter from my face. I'm blushing, actually, for some reason.
All right.
So that's Localicious, White Pages, and Neighbors. It's a little bit, I would say, when it comes to Localicious, a little too little too late for these guys, because they even, they were touting one of these features, which I wanted to ask you about, which was like the pre-check-in. Right, this is one of the little things. It's like, hey, if you're going to go to this restaurant, you can find out all of this information about your local neighborhood, and then go to the restaurant and then pre-check in, so that you don't have to bother with it when you're there. Localicious.
Yeah, there's the whole thing of the pre-check-in, the check-in, the post-check-in. I don't know. I mean, I personally, I think the whole concept of checking in is going to just change over time. It's one of those things where as we get NFC, as we get into some easier non-functional things that I have to open up an app and select a location and pick it from a list and do all of that, where it just becomes I'm there because I'm there. I'm there. You detect I'm there. I'm checked in. It's we're kind of in that kind of waiting to get there mode.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I look at what WhitePages is doing here with Localicious as so what? Who cares? Yeah. You have the data. Just
to me, Neighbors is
creepy,
innovative but creepy.
Creepy, and Neighbors is creepy, and Localicious is useless. How's that for an assessment of what these guys are doing?
All right, on to the next story.
I don't think that they're going to sponsor us. All right, story number 4. Hey, this is a company that might be interested in what WhitePages is doing. Is Foursquare expands the daily deals, and this is a quick story. What is this? What have they expanded?
Yeah, so basically, they've already had kind of deals available through the Foursquare application, but what they've announced is they've partnered up with LivingSocial, Buy With Me, and AT&T Interactive. So it just means that you're going to get more deals, better deals coming from third-party services, not just their own salespeople or their own merchants going out and finding deals. They're basically sourcing deals from other major players in the daily deal space. Yeah. What's interesting here is that Groupon is not part of the partners. And we've talked about Groupon and Groupon Now. We talk about Groupon's testing with Looped and some other guys out there. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not sure how many people use Foursquare just for the deal piece. There's really not a lot of data on that. And maybe that's the aim here. Maybe the aim is we want to get more people on here because deals are hot and everybody's doing deals, and so let's just go with the guys who are already in the space, LivingSocial and Buy With Me, and source them that way.
I don't get it, Asif, man. I don't want to harp on this, but LivingSocial and the Groupon business model about curating deals and selling 100, pre-selling 100 coupons, basically, or 100 discounts, or 100 100 items in order to qualify for the coupon or the discount. It doesn't lend well to the Foursquare mantra, which is like whatever's around me. So I'm sitting in Starbucks and it's like, look, there's a Jiffy Lube across the street that's giving a 40% discount on an oil change if you sign up now, and you can get it in 9 weeks or whatever, or in 3 days. It doesn't make any sense.
So the deals have to be
real time
sensitive here. It can't be stuff for the future. It's got to be like now. It's got to be part of their Explore capabilities inside of Foursquare. It's got to be, hey, I'm exploring, I look around me, and here's 3 deals that are coming from LivingSocial or Buy With Me that are, within a mile of where I am right now.
But they have to also be smart enough to know that...
be relevant. And so that's the thing that they're saying. They're claiming that they're going to use all their data and what they've been gathering about the users to actually only provide you with deals that are, relevant to you. I
don't know, man. You know what? There's one thing. I'm in a location... and say I've checked in or whatever it is that I've done, comb my social sphere, see what my influence is in that location, and then reward me for being there and how many people that I know are there or how many people I've brought in. Do something innovative. This is garbage to me, and how it's clear how I feel about this is like they got to get beyond this. Everybody's got to get past this stuff if we're going to innovate in this industry. Man, this doesn't sound like a vacation podcast. I'm getting all worked up here. We shouldn't do this. So Foursquare again.
Not
a big fan of this.
I'm happy that that maybe they might actually find some revenue through this, but nothing big, nothing interesting, nothing innovative here.
I mean, it's just Foursquare is I think is in the middle of an identity crisis, despite what they say.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about Facebook. This is an interesting one, but again, it's all around deals, man. So they're opening up their deals API to large chains of establishments, so more than one location. Restaurants or retail locations or service locations with more than one location. They're opening up their API for location deals.
Yeah, so Facebook launched deals back in November.
Yep.
On a limited basis. They, and so if you're not familiar with Facebook deals, basically you have a business, you claim your place page on Facebook, and then you can set up discounts and offers. And the problem with it was limited only to single location, small business type of businesses. And then they changed that a little while ago, slightly in that you could manage these things through a self-service set of tools that they offered. I think this was around February, March timeframe, if I recall, that they added to the Pages capability. But it was still limited to small businesses, single locations. And so if you had a franchise network, if you're a retailer with multiple locations, it didn't work for you. And so now they're opening up this Deals API, and it allows you to basically create parent-child relationships between your place pages and other place pages. So that's interesting, and we'll see what happens with that. Whether that drives big adoption of deals, I don't think so. The other thing that I think about when I hear about this is, a lot of the analytics platforms that we've seen out there, and we're going to talk about MomentFeed in a minute, yep. and certainly ValueVine, those two in particular are definitely focused on multi-location retailers and franchise chains in terms of providing location check-in analytics and measurement and campaign management types of tools. So, how do those things fit that a lot of these retailers are already using?
Yeah.
Married up against Facebook now saying, hey, we can have parent-child place pages and relationships going on in Facebook.
Yeah,
is Facebook my new CRM for my business? I don't think so.
Well, you know what, it's not a stretch to think. Facebook has come out in the last week or so and said, listen, it's no longer about the numbers. We're at 750 million people. Now it's about expanding the platform. So,
yeah.
The anticipation is now they're going to focus on these kinds of applications that start to drive huge revenue through those 750 million people. Like, the opportunities are there. And I think that they have to build something like this because they have to get to an even, a level playing field with everybody else that's in this space. But you're right. One of the unique features of this is that if you have a unique dish to the Maritimes or the East Coast or California on the West Coast, and it's compared to what you might serve in Ohio, you can highlight that a unique deal for different locations, and you can handle this, and it's an interesting play, but this is by far not the end. This isn't even worthy of an announcement, I would say, but certainly for multi-location companies, I think this is it's probably what they needed inside of Facebook to get it moving.
Well, let's see what kind of adoption it gets, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. I'll reserve judgment on that one.
Yeah, it's
I like
Facebook.
that Facebook's trying to expand the platform. Yeah. I think that makes sense. I just don't. I struggle with whether Facebook is really going to be the be all and end all for business consumer campaign management and engagement. I don't know yet.
I don't either. They're certainly consumers, so now
they're certainly consumers, right? But I don't know about the rest of it.
Well, I got to figure a way to engage with them. So those are the top 5 stories. I got to tell you, O2 and their priority moments wins for me. If we're having a battle of the stories, and
I love it.
That to me was the best story that we've got covered here. Everything else was a little bit of ho-hum or wayfinding. But just to recap, O2 launched their priority moments. LevelUp, which is a scavenger spin-off, scavenger service, launches their version 2, which is a departure from what they were doing before. WhitePages actually launches their Localicious and their creepy neighbors. It's like the creep neighbors, and Foursquare expands their daily deals to include guys like LivingSocial and a couple of other guys in deal finding, and Facebook is testing their check-in API for multi-location retail establishments. Top 5 stories. I like them. I don't. I like one of them.
Yeah, and the level up thing's interesting. We'll see what happens, whether they can make that payment stick.
Yeah. So the top two stories.
All right.
Let's jump right into the funding stage, which is the best part of this, because it's the optimism. Those guys who are at that moment of innovation, and this is great. The first guys, we mentioned them before. MomentFeed close a little bit of a round.
Yeah, so MomentFeed, again, location analytics targeted primarily at multi-location, franchises, retailers with multiple locations. So these guys raised $1.2 million, and that is from a whole bunch of people. So this is a seed round. MomentFeed's based in LA, if you're not familiar with them. So DFJ Frontier, DFJ JAIC Factual, founder Gil Elbaz, and Raply founder Aaron Huffman and Walter Kortschak.
So each one put $50 in, and
yeah, exactly. So a bunch of people, but anyways, 1.2 million to get them to going and add some people and kind of further develop the product. And Rob Reed and the guys over. Rob Reed's the CEO of MomentFeed. Great guys, great company. I really hope this gives them some fuel to get going.
A much needed service. We've talked about these guys before. I love these services. Well, they're in beta right now, limited beta, I think. Or
I love any kind of analytics in this space. I'm all for it. Right. Yep. The more we can measure, the more we can track. Especially with all our agencies that we deal with at the LBMA. This is huge, right? It's all about measurement, and so MomentFeed, ValueVine, Geotoco, all those guys we talk about, love it.
There aren't very many of them. People ask where the opportunities are. At some point you got to measure something and report on something and show some value on something else. That's all I'm going to say. But but who wants a paltry $1.2 million, right? I want $400 million in investment.
Right.
That's not our the next group, which is LocalMind. LocalMind raised. This has got to be a seed stage round, $600K.
Yeah, $600K, and I'm a bit surprised at the diversity in where it's coming from. So I'm going to read the list here again. $600K from Granite Ventures, Real Ventures, Inovia Capital, Ian Sobieski, Peter Bordis, Ty Danico, Zach Aarons, and Ash Javari, all participating. So again, everybody put in $50, I think. And but I love LocalMind. Good little Canadian company for
based out of Montreal. Yeah,
out of Montreal. These guys do some interesting things because they allow basically, if you're not familiar with the platform, it's a question and answer, location-based Q&A platform. So you're in a place and you basically it pulls in check-ins from Foursquare and all the major platforms, and then you can ask a question of somebody that's in a place and get an answer. So somebody you see who's on your network or checked in Times Square, and you can say, hey, what's the weather like right there right now, and they can give you an answer right back. So really interesting. $600K in fuel. Let's see what they can do with it to kind of grow the platform. But happy for the guys there.
Yeah, and I interviewed Bo, their CEO, for Untether.tv. Great interview, great session. And I was just at the Montreal, a great event in Montreal this past week, which was the Montreal or the International Startup Festival, which I think is beautiful. And obviously LocalMind, because Real Ventures was involved, and so was Inovia and a bunch of the other guys, the investors that you're talking about. And so they were LocalMind was the kind of social enabler for the International Startup Festival, and so they were everywhere. And love what these guys are doing as well. A different take, certainly a little bit of innovation. $600K is not a lot of money, but in Canada that's like $1 billion. It's the struggle. Absolutely. To close $600K is like closing $1 billion.
And remember that's $600K probably Canadian. So
yeah, that's right. It's like 700 US.
700 in American. So anyhow,
I love it. So LocalMind is great. Check them out at localmind.com. Last deal.
Last deal is for a company called Screenscape, which is a digital signage internet out-of-home play. And these guys are also Canadian, out of Charlottetown, PEI. They raised $6 million from a company called Hartco out of Montreal. And so I mean, a lot of fuel for a Canadian company. That's
especially in Charlottetown.
Yeah. So, great guys. These guys are members of the LBMA. They've got some integration with Foursquare built into their back-end platform. We've talked about them before.
Yep.
They have a kind of an interesting community-based digital signage model. So effectively, you go out and you put screens in local small businesses like the local gym and the local, automotive repair shop and places like that. And you can actually kind of trade or buy media from each other. So it has this really interesting community monetization model. So, let's say you run the local repair shop and, you walk in there as a customer and you're looking at the screen, you may see an ad from the fitness place around the corner.
Yeah.
And when you walk in the fitness place, you may see an ad from the automotive repair place, that's, in partnership with them. So interesting. I love it. And hopefully, they take the $6 million and do some amazing things with it. So anyhow, that's our funding stories for the week.
They were good. They were good, and these are great because these are the, as we said, these are the innovators, the guys at the ground level building upwards. We'll cover the $40 million deals, but these ones are the ones where they're pushing the business models and pushing mobile forward and pushing location forward, and the combination of them. MomentFeed, LocalMind, and Screenscape raising a little bit of money. So let's talk about our product of the week, which is a really cool one.
Yeah, the product of the week is really interesting. It's called Tapin, T-A-P-I-N. It's an iPad app, and it just got released last Tuesday, and you can pull it down from the iTunes store, the App Store now. It's limited to the San Francisco San Jose market, yeah. I believe, the Bay Area there. And so it's in partnership
just the San Jose Mercury News, right? It's one paper.
San Jose Mercury News. So this is all about location-based news, and the connectivity between that and mobile, and just looking at news in very different ways. And so I would encourage you, even if you're not in that market, to pull this app down. I pulled it down last night, and it's really, really looking at news purely from location basis. And when I say that, I don't mean just taking news and just highlighting for me, the local sports and the local crime and the local business stuff and bringing that forward because physically where I am. I mean, geocoding and geotagging every story that they write, and doing that, manually and using algorithms and doing a whole bunch of really interesting things, and then displaying that, in an extremely visual way that is much more like Flipboard, combined with location than it is a kind of a traditional online news delivery.
Well, what was really beautiful about this thing for me is the citizen journalism that they talk about. Citizen journalism, and when you got a map of the area like San Jose, and they put it's basically picture a Google map with push pins in it, right? That says this happened here, and citizen journalism happens. So you get that kind of look about what's being submitted from the people out there. They call them gigs, which I think are great, and they're asking for specific information from the citizen who is out there on location, and you get a really cool sense of what the news is happening right when it's happening. It's like real time traffic reports, but they're news. Right, and you think about it, it could be like Aunt Myrtle's cat is stuck in the tree over here, and then there's a robbery over here or fire over here. It just it aggregates all that data in such a way, and I think that this is exceptional. And if you're in this kind of business, this is what you guys should be doing if you're running a newspaper or any media outlet.
Yeah, and not only are they engaging people in that way to create content, they actually see that as a business model. So. Yeah. Right now, the app is free. So again, go and download the app and play around with it, just to experience it, because I think it's really interesting. But they see that as a way to actually eventually over time maybe charge for this app, but users can actually earn access to the app for free by doing things, by creating content on the system, and just engaging in it in different ways. And so the more you use it, the more likely it is that you're not going to pay. Versus those who just want to, kind of be a voyeur and read.
I think that this is a great piece to social news, and I think that they have a great way they can monetize it that way. They can sell subscriptions. They can sell advertising based on location. Although maybe it's like in a seedy part of town, you know, where there's lots of robberies, it can be like, get your guns here, you know, get your mace here. Anyway, I like it, and it's called Tap In for the iPad only right now, and it's only for the San Jose Mercury News. So, you know, maybe this will catch on, and different communities. It's going to take a little bit of time, especially to shift some of the larger print media and the print newspapers around.
And just one last thing on that. So, the reason it's the San Jose Mercury News is the app was actually built by a company called Tackable, which is a startup that was incubated by the newspaper company itself.
Do you know any other newspaper companies?
Innovation coming out of the newspaper company.
But do you know any other companies that are incubating? Any other newspapers that are incubating companies?
Well, I mean, you could argue just here at home in Toronto, where I am. You know, there's some incubating going on in that they own, you know, several location-based deal apps. They own WagJag, which is
you're right,
the largest in the country, bigger than Groupon. They own. They just launched a new one called ShopCatch, which is a deal app for larger retailers. So you could argue that they incubate. Yeah,
everybody's incubating right now.
Yeah.
If you're not, I'm incubating. They're 4.5 years old, but I'm incubating. That's it. So Tap In for the iPad. If you're around there, you obviously download it. It's a great resource. You can take a look at it. It's available obviously on the App Store. Our resource of the week, the last piece before you get back to that vacation and your golf game, Asif.
Yeah, the last piece is a little bit different from a resource perspective, but it just wanted to kind of bring the BlackBerry platform back into the mix, and so you know they
in a positive way.
This. But you know, they basically have a location-based services API for BlackBerry developers that allows you to find a location, display information on maps, estimate time and distance of trips, you know, do geofencing. So there's a lot of capability inside of this API that they've released. And you know, I don't want to go into more detail than that to get too technical, but you know, we'll post a link to this information. And you know, if you're building for the BlackBerry platform, you know, there's a lot of power available to you in terms of location-based capabilities.
Yeah, and you know, and just so that you know, you should be building for the BlackBerry platform. When something, you know, they sold 13 million devices last quarter, which is nothing to sneeze at. There's a lot of people using it. And this is a good this is good that the LBS, the location-based services API for BlackBerry developers. Yeah, we'll include a link.
And that's a wrap.
Come on. Well, look at that. You know, 1 hour of work for your vacation. That's not that bad.
No, not at all.
You'll still be on vacation.
I could do this every week.
Well, I say, but you know, it's the cushions that are distracting me.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I've been off a little bit today because of the pastel.
I could just throw one at you, bro.
Yeah, don't smother me with it. And yeah, yeah, the place looks great. You're still on vacation next week, so we'll be doing this from the same location.
Not sure yet, but depends when I get back into town. But yeah, we'll still be around for episode 35. Yeah, not to worry.
No, without missing a week. Yeah, big week. Don't forget the LBMA's event on the 26th. Register at thelbma.com. And, of course, you can find everything that you need around the Location-Based Marketing Association from thelbma.com. You can find Asif at the LBMA or at Asif Arkan. You can reach out to him at asif@thelbma.com. I know that's a lot to throw at you, but we love to hear feedback.
That's it.
You can find me, obviously, right here at untether.tv or at Rob Woodbridge on Twitter. If you have any comments, suggestions, feedback, if you'd like to us to talk about a company, if you've got some funding news, if you've got a resource that you think that our audience and you would actually like to spread, reach out, untether@gmail.com or at Asif at thelbma.com. We love hearing feedback. We love getting good comments from you guys, so keep them coming. Please, 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 please. Right, Asif? We love the comments.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've had a lot of good comments lately. You know, so just keep them coming. And you know, as Rob said, you know, if there's stuff that is happening out there, we want to know about it. We want to talk about it. So just bring it our way. Send us a note, and we're happy to cover it.
Yes. For those of you still watching and listening, thank you guys for making it through this episode. We'll see you next week for episode number 35, right from the golf course.
Absolutely.
All right, Asif. Enjoy your vacation. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.